I really do like the book of Job. I think most of you know that I was a Jesuit for, 23 years. And then my alcohol got the better of me totally and completely. And I left the Jesuits and went off on my own, which did not work very well. I was pretty much drunk for the next 8 years. I lived in St. Louis. I lived in Denver, one-room apartments. I'd worked day labor where you go down to a hiring hall and they call your name and you go and work at wherever they wanted you to, picking up trash or moving furniture, washing dishes, windows, whatever it might be. And you pick up the minimum wage and you get paid at the end of the day and you buy more booze. And I was so mad at God. I was much more colorful than Job. Job's very nice. I was much more colorful about how mad I was. This life was so terrible. And then, I keep talking about this hound of heaven. This hound of heaven who never let go, cornered me, and he somehow got me to listen. It was about my teeth. I didn't have much. They were all falling out. They were a source of great pain to me, and I used that as an excuse to drink too because I was killing pain, right? But my brother came, oldest brother, and he said he had some money. He left with our mother, and I could spend that money on getting my teeth fixed. And that's the first time I've ever even thought about asking for help or accepting help from anybody. It was all about what me and I could do. It was about me. But I hurt so bad that I finally agreed. And I went to the hospital, and they're familiar with my work, and they said for $500 they could take care of me, and they could take care of my teeth. So I had to stop drinking. I had to stop taking aspirin for about a month before they'd operate, and they pulled all my teeth. And then I was on a waiting list for 2 years to get teeth. I'll never forget it, going home after that surgery. My mother called me into the kitchen and said, she was making spaghetti. And she handed a piece of spaghetti to me and asked me if it was al dente, which was really, really not very funny, but it is. But I was faced with this 2-year wait, and I was okay with that because I pretty much dug that hole myself. And my sister from Kirksville called, and she's the one who died 2 years ago this month. And she said her husband, who was a dentist, would be happy to make me dentures, and they would be happy to have me come to Kirksville to have my teeth fixed. And I thought to myself, no, I can't do that. I've already taken too much help. I can do this on my own. But then I thought, 2 years without teeth. Okay. So I came to Kirksville 25 and a half years ago. And God works in very strange ways. The first thing I did is reintroduce myself to Alcoholics Anonymous. Then I met with the priest here in town, and he asked me, well, once you get your teeth, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. And he said, why don't you stay here with me, and we can figure out if you want to maybe come back into the priesthood. Now, mind you, I've been out for 8 years. I had not darkened the door of a church in 8 years. I had taken a vow that I would not pray for 8 years. And he's saying to me, why don't you come back to the priesthood? And I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. I mean, it wasn't physically I'd left psychologically and spiritually. And he said, just come and stay. You never know. You've got nothing better to do. And so I agreed. And I wasn't there a week before the principal of the grade school asked me to come over and teach 7th and 8th grade. I'm nuts, just plain nuts. She should have been fired. You don't hire drunks to come over and teach 8th graders in 7th grade. But no, she's dead, and I went over and I was teaching 7th and 8th grade. And about 2 weeks later, she calls and says, the girls' basketball coach for 5th and 6th grade had a heart attack. Do you want to coach girls volleyball or girls basketball? Sure. fire her twice. I mean, there's no way any of this should have been going on. But that's the amazing thing. Getting back into a program with people, being at school with little kids, and the first graders are absolutely wonderful. They don't even care who you are. They call me Father Pat, or they call me Father Dave, or they call me whatever they want to call me. They'd run up and give me a hug. And when you're loved so freely, so genuinely, it begins to change you. It begins to change you. And all of a sudden, there's that off chance that maybe you are lovable. And then it expanded out of that. I began to work in different places. I got a job at Preferred Family Healthcare, working with at that program down there. And I worked at that time. There were mostly guys coming out of jail or prison, and I was very familiar. I've been in lots of treatment programs with some of the roughest people around, and I fit right in there. I knew that language, and I've been working to change it ever since. But it was. I was very happy there, working with Preferred Family, working at Mary Immaculate Grade School. And finally, after 18 months, the bishop allowed me to come back into the priesthood. Now, why am I telling you this? It's because of people. People are who brought me back to God. It wasn't the fact that I had all those hours of study with the Jesuits. It was God being present in those people who loved me. It was God allowing me to accept that I was lovable, and then allowing me to try to love others. And so when that is what alerted me, I think, in the first, this is how God works and changes us. Now, what happens when you don't have a crisis like I had? When you haven't been expelled from life? What happens when you have the ennui, the loneliness that was described at this part of Job's story? And I know most of us have this, and I still have it at times. But I know all of you have felt, you're laying in bed at night, and what's it all about? You get up in the morning, you go to class, and you talk about maintaining. That's all you're doing is maintaining. Can I get through till next Friday? And sometimes you come here to Mass, and you hope for something as you come here. And it's the same old thing, and this big guy up front's not helping anything, So communion, which should be the thing that would help you, it doesn't. And so you leave here and you think, maybe God isn't here to help me whatsoever. But I think you're missing something very important. You're missing your connection with people. And start with those dearest to you, those who are your roommates, your housemates, those people you love the most. Look at them and see them for who they are. They are Christ loving you. You are Christ loving them. Think about that. Put yourself back into a deeper relationship where you're not maintaining, where you're, as Paul was doing, he was captured by the idea of loving people. And let that joy of being able to love flow forth. And allow others to love you, and you come to accept the fact, I am lovable. And that's the most important thing that can happen to us. I am lovable. I've been here in this wonderful town for 25 years. 20 of it here at Newman. And I got to tell you, I have days and nights where I'm thinking, what's this all about? One day flows into the next, and all the next one, and all of a sudden this is over, And it's at that time that I avail myself of the Newman community. I ask people to come visit me. I talk to them on the phone. I email them. I ask them, when are you going to come and see me? And then, what does he want? I haven't got any problems. I got the problem. And I'm asking you to be with me, And I think that's very important to realize. that we all need to do that. We all need to call on each other to turn us into the realization that I am God's chosen one. You are loved by God in these people. I cannot tell you how awesome it is to work at the Catholic Newman Center and to look out and to see these faces, these people. You know, it's a gift you have too. Be aware of the one next to you, behind you, in front. Be aware. Speak to them at the sign of peace. Talk to them after Mass. Let your love for them show forth and allow them to love you. And all of a sudden, your life has purpose. And all of a sudden, you'll look more like Paul than you ever thought imaginable. You will have energy because what we love, we want to talk about. And if we love our God, we'll talk about our God. But if we don't know that we love God, we will not talk about Him. You know, and when I go home, I've got a wonderful family and everything, but they pretty much want to talk about all their family and all this stuff. And I've got about 8 things to say. I talk about you guys, and that's it, you know. They haven't got that much interest in what I'm doing, you know. And I said, what can we talk about? I really miss being here and being able to talk to you. You understand. And again, I'm not putting my family down. It's fine, but it's not the same. So I guess what I'm saying, this book of Job does not end with a period. It ends with a comma. The gospel is telling us there is healing. And Jesus is not the only healer. Jesus passes on to you and me this gift of healing called love.